Summer came, as always, unexpectedly, with heat, mosquitoes, and the desire to drink cold lemonade. Some people, if possible, are saved by the benefits of civilization, like air conditioners, and some are saved by wearing only underpants and socks. Or just underpants. Jack, for lack of a device to cool the hot air in the house, was wearing only underpants. The heat was unbearable, and Jack found comfort in the simplicity of his attire. He often stood at the window, hoping for a breeze, but there was no relief. He joked about moving to a cooler climate, but deep down he knew he loved summer, even with all its inconveniences. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as bad weather, and he'd married the beautiful Linda in the winter. That's how Jack met his mother-in-law for the first time in his underwear. Not that Jack had anything to be ashamed of. Everything was in perfect order. And Linda didn't complain about her husband's masculinity. If anything, she had reason to complain about herself. Jack was confident, and his nonchalance was partly what attracted Linda to him. He was a man who lived life on his own terms, not caring what others thought, and such freedom was intoxicating. Emily, Linda's mother, always wondered what her daughter found in him. Why didn't I find a man like that? A man like Jack, a real stud, she often pondered. All she talked about was borscht and meatloaf, oblivious to her husband's charms. Emily watched with envy and curiosity as Jack walked around the house in his underwear, teased Linda, or splashed in the bathtub for half an hour. The sounds he made both excited and annoyed Emily, who hadn't had a man in her life in the 5 years since she'd divorced Linda's father. The hardest nights for Emily were the nights she lay in bed, listening to the distant sounds of Jack's laughter and imagining what it would be like to have such joy in her life again. Jack, not knowing what Emily was thinking, felt no shame around his mother-in-law. Occasionally, he would playfully snuggle up to her, laughing, and Emily would freeze, not knowing how to respond to those occasional touches. His touches were light, playful, but they confused Emily. She could feel her face heat up, her heartbeat quicken, and hated how easily she reacted to him. And then one day, when Jack was kneeling in his room, perhaps to fix something, or just messing around, Emily decided to peek around to see what he was doing during those long stretches in the bathroom. There was a small window between the kitchen and the bathroom, one of those weird architectural quirks that no one really knows the purpose of. Some say it's for more light, others say it's for watching the children. But Emily found another use for it. She often wondered if she should be ashamed of being a spy, but curiosity is a powerful thing and she couldn't resist. She looked inside, and what she saw shocked her. She quickly recoiled, her face reddening. But curiosity got the better of her, and after standing for a moment, catching her breath, she returned to the window. What she saw took her breath away. Jack, completely oblivious to her gaze, was in his element, indulging in the routine that Amal realized he did every day. Emily backed away from the window quietly, her heart racing. She tried to put the image out of her mind, but it was impossible. Every detail was imprinted in her memory, and the image haunted her day and night. She was drawn to that window more and more often, and she couldn't resist the temptation to look. From that moment, Emily's peace of mind was shattered. She could neither eat nor sleep. Her thoughts were constantly occupied with her son-in-law. The anxiety was almost unbearable, and finally, when the tension reached its climax, she decided to have a direct confrontation with Jack in the shower. She had run the scenario through her head countless times, imagining how she would approach him, what she would say. But when the moment finally arrived, all her plans vanished. Instead, she acted on impulse, her body moving before her mind could keep up. She had never experienced such magic before. Now a new Emily was born, one that obeyed Jack unconditionally. He told her what to do, and she did exactly as he asked. If someone had told her a month ago that she would be sneaking showers with her son-in-law, she would have taken offense and considered it a ridiculous humiliation. But now what she was doing brought her great joy, taking her to heights she'd never dreamed possible. How long they spent together, she couldn't say. When they finally surfaced, they were both exhausted, their legs shaking. The water had long since cooled, but neither of them seemed to notice or care. They were lost in the moment, in each other, and nothing else mattered. "I guess I'll collapse on my bed and sleep all day," Emily said with a weak smile. Her body felt heavy and her muscles ached, but there was a contentment in her that she hadn't felt in years. "Considering we barely slept last night, you're going to need more than a day," Jack replied. He ran a hand through his wet hair, his eyes gleaming mischievously. He seemed tireless, full of energy, and Emily couldn't help but admire him. He was everything she'd ever wanted, and now he belonged to her, albeit secretly. Day and night, Emily did her best to please her son-in-law, driving herself to exhaustion. Linda, meanwhile, was perplexed and sometimes even annoyed by Jack's behavior. but could not understand what was going on. Jack had complete control over Emily. As soon as he looked into her eyes, she melted, ready to fulfill his every wish. Whenever they were alone together, they indulged in forbidden games that took Emily's breath away, and she was torn between guilt and delight. She knew it was wrong, knew she was betraying her daughter, but the thrill of it was too intoxicating to resist. Each time was like the first, full of passion and urgency, and she found herself craving more. The roles seemed to have reversed now. Linda was doing housework, making borscht, running errands, and knitting endless sweaters, while Emily devoted herself completely to Jack, responding to his every call. They were both settling into this new dynamic, as strange as it was, and everyone was happy at least for the moment. Linda had her routine, her comforts, and Emily had her Jack. They were all playing their roles, and as long as no one was looking closely, everything seemed perfect. But there was tension simmering beneath the surface, like a time bomb ready to explode. Emily knew it couldn't last forever, but for now it was enough for her to live in the moment and take whatever she could find, whatever it took. The summer days stretched on, each one hotter than the last, but Emily didn't mind the heat anymore. She had Jack, and that was all she needed. They shortened their time together when they could, quick kisses in the hallway, long touches when Linda wasn't looking. It was dangerous, exciting, and made Emily feel alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. She realized it was only a matter of time before they were caught, but pushed that thought to the back of her mind. She was happy now, and that was all that mattered. As the days turned into weeks, Emily noticed that she was changing. She became more confident, more courageous. She styled her hair differently, began to dress in clothes she felt attractive in. She felt younger, more energetic, and people began to notice. One day, even Linda noticed it, asking her mother what had gotten into her. Emily only smiled, a secret smile that only she and Jack understood. The transformation was undeniable, and it was all because of him. One evening, as the sun was setting, casting the house in golden light, Emily and Jack found themselves alone in the kitchen. The tension between them was palpable, and without a word, Jack pulled her to him and pressed his lips to hers in a scalding kiss. Emily's heart raced, her body responding instantly. She knew they were taking a risk, that Linda could enter at any moment, but she didn't care. All she needed at this moment was Jack, and nothing else mattered. They parted as they heard the front door open and Linda's voice rang out. Emily quickly stepped back, her cheeks flushed and her heart racing. Jack winked at her, promising her that there was more to come, and Emily couldn't help but smile. This was her life now, full of secrets and stolen moments, and she wouldn't want it any other way.